Hello! What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Champions League prediction. This time we're going to be going over the semifinals. I've brought on Hasib, the Bosnian Pro FIFA player, yet again. What are your thoughts on all the matches that have just happened so far?
Man, definitely a few shockers in there. Like the Bayern Villareal game. Kinda wasn't expecting Bayern to throw the game like that at home. And also the Real Madrid turnaround. It was very crazy because I thought Chelsea were, they were cruising. They had a 3-goal lead and they blew it. So
Atletico Madrid versus Manchester City. Bit of a boring one. Simeone's tactics, he was just doing whatever he could to defend against City. I understand. City are a fantastic side, but still, you could definitely tell how passionate the Atletico players were at the end. I got the first leg right of City winning it at the Etihad by 1-0, but I definitely thought Atletico would be able to score, and you know what? They came close. Fair play to Manchester City. So we both got 2 out of 4 predictions right. We both got Liverpool right, and then I got Real Madrid right, while you got Manchester City right. I decided to go with that Atletico Madrid upset. And also Liverpool versus Benfica was honestly fantastic. Props to Benfica for pulling through like that. Scoring 3 goals at Anfield is not easy, and not to mention a few more that were offsides. Bravo to them. They were in a really tough group as well, and they pulled through all the way to the quarterfinals.
yeah, that is crazy. And just before we get into them, I'm just gonna mention quickly. I think we both knew the Man City Atletico Madrid game was gonna be a pretty tight affair, given how Diego Simeone plays. But I think low-key today in the second leg, Atletico Madrid got a little unlucky. They maybe should have had a pen. I think Griezmann hit the post, but you could also say Gundogan hit the post as well. So it could have ended either way. I think the fair result would have been for the game to go to extra time, but I think with the football Simeone plays, I would much rather see Man City advance anyway. But yeah, I'm fully with you. Props to Benfica for scoring 3 at Anfield. It's never easy, but you also have to bear in mind that club kind of rotated, I think, 7 or 8 players in that game. So they were without their number 1 fullbacks, Arnold and Robertson, and Van Dijk didn't play either. But seriously, props to Benfica. They have a really talented side, especially through Darwin Nunez, and I think he's definitely leaving this summer, man. He's an incredible talent.
Let's get into the predictions now. Starting off with Real Madrid versus Manchester City. I think this match is an absolute 50-50 here for many reasons. But the biggest one in particular, I think these sides kind of contrast each other in some ways, especially with the fact that Real Madrid have a reliable number 9. We've seen Karim Benzema pull through in marvelous ways against PSG and Chelsea in the first leg at least. He still did pretty well in the second leg as well, still scoring a goal and also hitting the post. When you look at Manchester City, they don't have that reliable number 9. But Pep Guardiola has still been working a system without it. Still, whoever he puts at striker is pulling through, but we also have seen an absence of goals against Atletico Madrid. Obviously, Atletico Madrid are playing very defensively, but still, at the end of the second half on the second leg, Atletico Madrid were pressing up more, and we still didn't see an effective attack from Manchester City.
Yeah, so it's definitely a really tough tie to predict. Like you said, it's very 50-50. I didn't really respect Real Madrid as much as I should have, but also looking back at the games I've watched between PSG and Chelsea, you have to mention that they did get very lucky. I think the individual defensive mistakes through Donnarumma and Marquinhos against PSG really handed them that win. And against Chelsea again, when they were cruising at the Bernabeu, they got completely outplayed. But sometimes, that's normal in Champions League. You get outplayed and you still win. And unfortunately, they couldn't turn around the first leg mistakes from Mendy whenever he gave Benzema his 3rd goal. But that's Champions League football for you. And this is a very tough game to predict, like you said. The first game's at the Etihad, and City are without Cancelo through suspension. Walker picked up a pretty nasty injury, so I think he's going to be out too, and KDB is also a doubt, so it's very tough to predict. But I back Man City to win the Champions League. I think they're my personal favorites just because they play the most entertaining football, kind of like we saw over the weekend against Liverpool, and they should have beaten Liverpool easily, and Liverpool are also the favorites in this competition outside of Man City. So I'm going to stick with Man City. I think even if they have these players out, I think both ties will be very tough. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw at the Etihad, and I think City pulled through and they win 2-1 at the Bernabeu. But I can also see it go to extra time and potentially even penalties, just because if KDB's out, it's really going to affect them. And Cancelo, he puts in a lot of crosses, kind of like Liverpool's Trent Alexander-Arnold. So if Cancelo's suspension really hits them hard, I don't know if Zinchenko can be able to cope with Real Madrid's attack and counterattacks.
I think most people are banking on Manchester City to be the favorites. I mean, they've been fantastic in the Premier League. Pep Guardiola doing a fantastic job, but you can't rule out the stars on Real Madrid, along with Karim Benzema, my favorite player, Luka Modric, has been pulling through. He's the one who brought them to life in the second leg against Chelsea when they were looking down and out completely. The comeback looked complete for Chelsea, or nearly complete, but Luka Modric's outside the foot pass just defied all odds. Like I said, I think most people are banking on Manchester City. I totally get it. I think most people are predicting an all-English final, actually. I'm going to go for Real Madrid here. I know I'm going to get slammed on that a bit because I predicted Atletico Madrid to go through. I keep counting out Manchester City. I know they're one of the favorites. I just think Real Madrid have the belief in them. I think them having a solid number 9 will make the difference. And we've already seen Benzema have a fantastic tournament. So even if they go out to Manchester City, I still think that he deserves all the recognition for what he's done against PSG and Chelsea. But regardless, what my prediction will be is that it will be higher scoring than Atletico Madrid versus Manchester City. For the first leg at the Etihad, I'm going to say that Manchester City and Real Madrid draw 1-1. That one will be a little bit low scoring, but then the second one at the Bernabeu, it'll finish 3-2 for Real Madrid. Real Madrid don't necessarily have the most reliable home record after what we've seen against Chelsea, but I have a feeling they'll be able to pull through this time. I know I could be wrong. Just my initial thoughts. Good luck to both teams. But let's move on to the next one. Liverpool versus Villarreal.
So this is a very good tie, and I underestimated Villarreal through their first 2 legs, but then again, we knew the game against Juventus given Allegri's tactics and how Unai Emery plays as well. It could have gone either way, but the Bayern game really surprised me, but it also didn't because they're with Nagelsmann, and he's no Hansi Flick, and they just threw the game and they couldn't get it done even at the Allianz. Liverpool versus Villarreal. I think Liverpool's style will absolutely suffocate Villarreal just because of the way they play. It may be a low-scoring affair in one of the games, but I think eventually it's going to come to an end for Unai Emery, and the floodgates will open. But that's honestly nothing to be ashamed about. I think his run after getting sacked from Arsenal, his run in this tournament is absolutely amazing, and you have to give him credit. He's taken a bunch of Premier League reject players that really don't play in the Premier League anymore, like Coquelin, Aurier, and others, and he's just absolutely cemented their spots in the starting 11, and he's made a really solid run to the Champions League semi-final. But I think it's going to end here, and I think Liverpool will get this tie done 4-1 aggregate. I think the first leg is at Anfield. Obviously, Villarreal will do what they've been doing. You're going to come in there playing defensively, but I think Liverpool will get it done. They're going to win 2-0 at Anfield, and they're going to squeeze out another win at Villarreal, and it'll be 4-1 aggregate. But it's a very tough game to predict because, it's football. It could go either way. Unai Emery can really do what he's been doing, and Liverpool may get unlucky and not score, but I really backed him to make the final of this competition.
You couldn't have said it better about Emery. Fantastic run in the Champions League. Emery has taken this side to a Europa League final and won it, and now he's taken them all the way to the semifinals for the Champions League. Who would have thought? No one was expecting them to beat the likes of Juventus and Bayern Munich. Obviously, Bayern Munich have been exposed quite a few times this season. It wasn't just this match, so I agree with you. Nagelsmann's position definitely will be questioned in the future. But regardless, I don't think Villarreal will be able to do the job against Liverpool. It's going to be too tough an opponent. Obviously, we saw Liverpool get exposed to Benfica in the second leg, but they were playing a lot of their subs, reserve players, and all that. Liverpool aren't going to underestimate Villarreal. No one should underestimate any team in the semifinals if they made it this far. I'm going to say that in the first leg at Anfield, it finishes 2-0, like you said. And then the second leg, I'm going to say it finishes in a draw, 1-1. But it'll be enough for Liverpool to make it to the Champions League final.
It's going to be a very low-scoring affair given how Unai Emery wins, and I think a 1-1 result in Spain is very respectable, so you couldn't have said it any better. And I think this is going to be a really interesting tie, and like you said, if a team's in the semifinals of the Champions League, there's absolutely no need to underestimate anyone. It's football, anything can happen, but sometimes we have to be realistic and we have to back the favorites. So
I mean, I support Liverpool, but best of luck to Villarreal regardless. Regardless of what happens, Emery has got to pat himself on the back. It's interesting because they're not doing as well in La Liga, and they're still pulling through in the Champions League. Something special with the European tournaments for Emery. So my projected final is Real Madrid versus Liverpool. Hasib's is Manchester City versus Liverpool. I feel like most people are going with Hasib's prediction. I don't know if it's necessarily considered an upset, but I'm going with something that's not considered with the majority. I'm going to say Real Madrid make it all the way to the final. They have that history and determination to do what they've done in the past in the Champions League. I think they got it. It would be a very interesting final regardless, though. If it's Liverpool versus Manchester City, it's going to be the top 2 English clubs, and they're already trying to fight for the top position in the Premier League. But then if it's Real Madrid versus Liverpool, that's going to be a rematch from 2018. So very much looking forward to whatever happens. Hasib, thank you for joining again. Make sure you like this video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all very, very soon. Take care. La con noche.